This next section is about field set and legend elements. A field set element is to group a section of choices to show that they're together. So the default for the field set will set this gray border around that can be changed obviously by CSS. So we start with the field set tag, and it's the grouping tag, and then the legend tells what text goes up here as the label of the field set. And then the same as before, you have your input, your radio buttons with their labels so that you can click on either the label or you can click on the button. And you have the field set button, the checkbox buttons with their labels and checkboxes that you can click on. So again, this is for grouping purposes. You're still dealing with the same kind of buttons. You're just grouping them in a field set and giving them a name for the field set. Now on to the image upload control. So in order to put and attach an image box and the browse button, we need the following code. We need the form name, which is the upload form. We need an action, which in this case we don't really have any action happening, but it's okay. We need a method and the type, which tells us it's a form data, multi-part form data. And now here's our box. We have the text that goes on top of the box. The input type is file, because it's going to be a file name. We're calling it file upload. And then these are the type files that it will accept. It will accept a JPEG or a GIF. So if we click on browse, it's going to bring up my download folder because that's where it defaults to apparently. And I don't know if I have any images in there or not. Oh yes, I do. Okay, so we could choose, I don't know, that image and click open, and it has the little image. Now of course we don't have a submit button or anything, so it's not going to do anything else. But this is how to code the box with the browse button to pull up the folder on the machine. A couple of things to note. If we want the file upload control, it has to be input type of file. We must have the method of post for a file upload. And we also have the option in the input type of having multiple, where you can upload multiple files. Okay, now that we've talked about the basic controls, we're going to talk about the formatting that you can use to make your forms look better. First, we want to talk about dealing with each of these label elements. Now, the best thing to do is to set a rule set for your label, and we'll look in the sample.css. And what we're doing is we're floating all of the labels to the left, setting a standard width for the labels so that they're all the same width of a field, and then we're aligning the text within those labels to the right, which you can see over here. Each of these is the same width and the text is all aligned to the right. So anytime we see the label, obviously that's going to be what's going to happen. Now the next thing is to have a margin left. We put a margin left on our input boxes, which puts that space in between the label and the input box. And we did that for 1em, and then we put the bottom margin to put the spaces in between the boxes going vertically. Now when we coded our buttons, that takes care of all of our input fields. Down here we have our register button and our reset button. Now the register button, obviously we're given all of the details for the button, but when we go up here to our sample CSS, we're setting the left margin for that button to 7ems. So if we look back, See how this one has ID button? We're only setting the button ID to have a left margin. So that means that the register, or the reset ID, excuse me, is just default formatted. So we can fill in these and then we click on the register button, and I'm sure it's going to give me an error message. Oh, it's not going to do anything, because right now it doesn't have any instructions on where to go. But if I click the reset button, it's not doing anything either. It's supposed to be resetting my fields. So we need to work on that. But this is the code for laying out our labels, or actually we should be focusing on the CSS. This is the code for laying out our label, our input boxes, and the button ID element. Now we're going to talk about how to use CSS to format our controls. So a couple of things we're going to do. First, we changed our label color. So in the label we changed it to navy. We still have it floated left and text aligned right, but now we have bold text, and we made the width a little bit more for the field. On our input boxes, we set our width to 15 character widths. We set our left margin and bottom margin the same as they were. But one thing we did change was when the focus is on a specific input box, you'll notice it outlines the box in blue. And you can almost see it. If we made it a little wider, it might be better. Let's make it like 3 pixels and see if that helps. That makes it show up a little bit better. And also we set, for both buttons, we set some characteristics. We set the width to be 7, so they're both the same width. We set a shadow, a navy shadow if you notice, around the edge, and we set silver background color. Now again, we just set a margin left for our register button so that it would be shifted over to be even with our input boxes. And this time, if you enter all of this stuff and you click reset, it does clear it. So it was an Internet Explorer issue. If you click register, it does nothing, but it does clear the form.